Welcome back, adult students. I've taught tens of thousands of lessons at this point, and so many questions get repeated, especially for you adult students, because you all have such similar insecurities and fears, which ironically usually revolve around you having a unique set of insecurities and fears. So I figured we would just get out of the way right now answers to questions that you either have right now or that you're about to have and don't even know it as you get a little bit farther into this journey. Yes, you can do this. I want you to think about this just like any other language. If I asked you, do you really think I'm capable of learning Spanish? The answer would be, of course, yes. Everyone is capable of learning Spanish. That's not quite true. Some people are incapable of learning languages, but it's not you and it's not me. So we can definitely get that one out of the way. You can do this. It's true that there are some people who are just really good at learning languages and they pick up Spanish extremely quickly. That has nothing to do with me and my journey. Can I learn Spanish? Yes, absolutely. Can I become great at Spanish? Yes, absolutely. Will I be the best at Spanish? Not a chance. So, yes, you can absolutely do this. No, you probably won't be the best, but that shouldn't take anything away just because someone else is better at it or faster at it. It shouldn't take anything away from your experience at all. You are good enough to get good enough at this that you'll really enjoy it. No, you don't suck. And I'm going to need to say this again probably in 6 months or 3 months. Maybe next week you'll need to hear this. A year from now, 5 years from now, you don't suck. More importantly, there's no such thing as sucking. We're just exploring a language here. So there's no right way or wrong way really to do this thing. There's no one that I know who's really great at music who ever says that anybody else sucks, unless they're talking about a person who's trying to compare themselves to somebody else and say how much better than they are. Those people suck, but just because those people suck, not because they suck at music. So no one is thinking about that except for you and everybody else. But no one who's good is thinking about that at all. So it's kind of similar to, like, if I asked you how your financial situation is, you'd probably say something along the lines of, well, I guess I'm doing all right. But there are times where it's really tight, or there have been times where it's really tight, and a lot of times I really wish that I had more. And that explains everyone from, like, the homeless person in California to the richest person on Wall Street. They probably wouldn't say they're just doing all right, but really, really rich people, right? So we all are just kind of like, well, I'm right here, but I sure can see where I'd be a little bit farther. That's where we're all at. That's where I'm at today. That's where I'm going to be in 10 years. I'm where I'm at, and I wish as I was a little further. I guess I've got some of this journey behind me already, but I'd like to get a little bit farther. So wondering whether you suck or not, that's not an objective thing. And so if you just stop thinking about it, you're going to enjoy this a whole lot more. No, you don't suck and you're not failing. In fact, quite the opposite. You are right now listening to me talk about how to get better at the piano, how to have a better perspective on music. So you are actively going out and trying to do things that are outside of your comfort zone. That's really rare for adults. We don't like that feeling at all. So the fact that you are even wondering about this or willing to engage with the idea of the piano and getting better at it and perhaps failing, that the fact that you jump into an arena where that's even an option puts you way ahead of other adults. So no, you're not failing. You don't suck. Let's move on. Okay, this is starting to feel awkward because I'm not a gratuitously encouraging person generally. I'm not interested in blowing smoke in anyone's orifices. But the truth is, this is one of those questions that kind of answers itself. If you are interested in piano and interested enough to be obsessed to listen to a guy drone on about how to do this thing, then you probably have what I would call talent, which is just enough interest to be pursuing that thing with some regularity, some intensity. So the fact that you're here, that you're asking the question, and that you're wondering, is this something that, I hope that this is something I can be good at? Is it something I can be good at? Yeah, you're probably talented. You're probably not as talented as someone else who is more obsessed with it, but you definitely have enough talent to get into this thing. Again, if this is just a language, if this is open to anybody, if anyone can try this thing, then the fact that you have enough attraction to it to get this far in your journey means that you're probably talented enough to get pretty good. No, you're not special. Now we're starting to sound a little more like me. So all of the adult students that I have, at some point, most of them at multiple points, have something either happen to them or have had something happen to them in the past. They discover some little nuance about the way that they practice or whatever, that, whenever I do this thing, it's really weird to for some reason, my right ring finger, that one's really hard to play with. I can play with my pointer finger, but my right ring, yeah, that's true for everybody. That's true for everybody. Not everybody had your baseball injury when you were 16 that now you feel affects the way that you play piano, but it's not really affecting the way that you play piano. So no, the thing that you think is unique about your situation almost for sure isn't unique about your situation. Practice will help you overcome that. It's probably just a normal thing. It's probably not something that's actually special to you. So the bad news is that you're not as special or unique as you felt like you were. And the good news is there's no excuses. You can jump in, you can do this, and all the struggles that you're going through are normal and can be overcome with more practice time. Nope, there is no reason that you should have to start on piano if you're really wanting to learn a different instrument. Despite what your Aunt Sally told you, the piano is not an instrument that you must learn before you learn all other instruments. However, there are a few good reasons that piano seems to be a better one to start with, maybe if you don't have any special affinity for guitar or drums, or there's not something else that you're just dying to finally learn, then yeah, piano's a great one because, first of all, it's really super common. So all instrumentalists who get really good at some point gain some proficiency at piano. There's just always a piano around. Whatever practice room you're in, whatever band you're in, most houses that you're in are going to have a piano. So pianos are just everywhere, and everyone who's good kind of knows some piano. So when a couple different instruments are wanting to talk to each other about parts or whatever, a lot of times they end up at the piano trying to discuss what it is that they should be playing and how their parts are going to fit together, because a tuba player talking to a violinist may not have all of the same terminology and stuff, but if they both talk piano, then they both know how to translate it to their instrument. So it's super common. Also, it's really easy to make a sound. So with this thing, we have these buttons. We just press a note, press a key, and the sounds come out perfectly every time. That's not true for guitar. For guitar, you've got all kinds of buzzing and your fingers hurt, and you got to build up the calluses, and then you got to put it on the right string. It's really hard to make a sound. Same thing for violin or for a saxophone. You're embouchure and trying to not squeak and all that stuff. There's just so much work on so many instruments to make a sound. And with piano, literally any baby can walk up and make just a perfect D. Bam, there it is. It just sounds perfect right up from the start. Also, and this one might be a little bit subjective, the piano is laid out in a more logical order. So on piano, you go here, the notes get high. You go there, the notes get low. That's just one of the examples. There's so many others in music theory. But for example, with guitar, that's not true. If you want to go up, you have to go up, except for the cases where you have to go down. All the horns and stuff, the fingerings just don't make sense, really. They're just things you have to memorize. So visually, I think, and it's a pretty common opinion, that the piano is laid out really nicely to understand how music is put together. Yes, absolutely. Fingers exercises might help No, I am not going to assign them to you right at the beginning because I don't think they're going to help in the same way that you're going to think that they're going to help. So you are afraid that you are so old and your joints just don't move like they used to, that you're hoping to get something to increase the flexibility. If that was the case, then all of the doctors would be prescribing piano lessons because that just warms up your joints and makes things work better. That's not what it's going to do. What finger exercises will do is help your brain create the right ruts, the right pathways in order to make your fingers more coordinated and move with better predictability. But it's not going to loosen things up like you're hoping that they are. Your age is not as big a factor as you're worried that it is, and your inability to put your fingers on the right notes at the right time is a normal thing. 5-year-olds have that, and they don't have arthritis. So stop worrying about that. Just get in, keep trying. Your fingers are just really disobedient. That's why we're here. Your brain can understand what's supposed to happen here, but your fingers don't do it yet. That's not because you're old. That's because you're a primate. Nope. Your fingers aren't weird, and no, it won't help you, and no, it won't hurt you. So people with really long, lanky fingers can reach farther, but in general, they are less coordinated than people with shorter fingers. They can't quite get as far of a reach, but in general, it's easier to get around in the notes and stuff like that. But the truth is, none of that's really going to matter. That's going to play such a minute role, a tenth of a percent in the factors that are going to go into how well you can play the piano. It's just not an issue. I know Aunt Sally said that you had piano fingers, and that was supposed to be really good and give you an advantage. Sorry, it's not. Yeah, absolutely. You will learn music theory, and it hurts my heart that that's a question. It hurts my heart that that's a legitimate question. Apparently, there are teachers who don't teach music theory out there, but I can't imagine how that would even go, because I really want my students to know how things are put together. So I can't think of a good teacher who wouldn't also include theory, because a good teacher is just really eager to jump in and explain anywhere there's a twinge of curiosity. So yeah, you'll learn music theory absolutely from any good teacher. Yes, you should absolutely learn how to sight read, how to read sheet music. No, it's not nearly as big a factor as you think. So, reading music and playing music have as little in common as knowing how to read a book and learning how to tell a good story. They're really very, very separate skills. Now, they can be used together, but so can telling a good story and wearing a good outfit. Those can go together as well, but they're not necessarily linked. So yes, learning how to read sheet music is great. You should definitely do it. It's going to take you way longer than you think to get really good at that. But in the meantime, while you're working on that, you should also learn how to play some music, which is an entirely other thing. Yes, it's normal that it's taking this long. It's going to take longer. Man, that sounds depressing. Yeah, it just takes a really long time. And I don't even know what the "it" in that sentence means. It takes a long time. I don't know what we're just experiencing music here. In the best case scenario, you die still on this journey. This is just a great marriage, a great relationship. There's not going to be an end to this thing. There's so much out there. You're just this tiny little sailboat on an ocean. And so if you enjoy sailing, that's good news, because you're never going to run out of ocean. But if you don't like sailing, then for goodness sake, stop. So this piano thing, you're not going to get to the end. You're just going to keep discovering how much more there is to know than you thought there was to know. So I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know what you would mean by that. But yeah, it's normal for it to take this long. No, you're not too old. And I know the internet is fighting me on this one, because my golden rule of the internet is whatever talent you have in any arena and whatever your age, you can find someone on the internet that's half your age that's twice as good as you at that thing. And piano is definitely no exception. There are 13-year-olds right now that can just play circles around me. It's ridiculous. So yeah, no, you're not too old. Again, back to the whole sailing analogy. If you like sailing, get out there and sail. The fact that someone else has sailed more than you that's not a thing. So if you're going to enjoy this thing, then jump in and enjoy it, and enjoy it for as long as you can, as long as your health will permit. So just jump in. You're not too old. It's going to be tough at some points, but it's going to be really rewarding, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And hey, you might even impress a friend or two of yours. So jump in. You can do it. Good luck. Have fun.